back, I started dispensing work, sketching. This is the first man who gave me a contract and said, draw my portrait and give me any price I will pay, and he did. Sometime last year, he was trying to launch another book in French, and he needed some sketching in the book. He drove all the way to our compound and said, I want you to take this project. I don't know to work for him. 2023, I was hosting the first exhibition, a solo exhibition. I named it the Silent Dreamers. I reached out to him and I said, I am looking at people that are inspirational to the country. I want to take a photo of you. He drove all the way to where I was and said, I am here. Whatever you do, I am going to do it. I actually was taking a photo of him in the streets. Everybody else was passing. He drove down, parked, and came to me and said, what kind of photo do you want? Humbleness, humility. We are set to hear from you, Dr. Chanamari. I'm sorry, I know you will not like this, but I wanted to say this. A round of applause. We need support system.
I want to, first of all, recognize the high table. Some I know personally, others I don't know very well. But I know I have a sister here, Ami Bojang Sisoho. We've worked very closely together too. And also Raki Jalo is one of the inspiration for the youths. And I'm sorry to say I might not know everyone on the high table, but I have no doubt that most of them have heard about me. And yeah, our able artists. Actually, I support anybody I think has talent. And I believe that is the way everybody should do. Support talent, especially youthful talent. I also want to recognize Kilkil. You don't know Michael Hamadi Seka. Please stand up, please. They are singing my praises, but Michael Hamadi Seka is one of the very few who has reviewed extensive number of books written by Gambians at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and recommended them to be used in the schools. So he is the key guy here, really, who should be the star and not me. But Michael Hamadi is retired, but not tired. He's still helping writers, working out there, reviewing their books and making it good. So, Michael, I'm happy that you are around, so I don't feel lonely. Anyway, I'm so happy to come to Abdul Kamar's book launch. Before I say a few things, let me just start first by recognizing the fact that I feel that Abdul Kamar is one of the greatest marketeers. That one you have to give it to. He is the greatest marketer. Abdul has to come up to my office, phone neck, Prof, wherever you are, I'm coming. And he had to pick me out of my office and make sure I sat with him and discuss his work. Honestly, I commend you only for that. I mean, even if it is that alone you did, you have already achieved something very great. But another thing is that Abdul has also the social media completely, overwhelmed. I mean, if you have a connection of Abdul, remember that you will see a poster, a different poster almost every day. So you have to clap for him for that too. You know why I always enjoy coming to this kind of book events? It's because I love talent. And I am so happy to see talent growing among the youths. I am so happy. And honestly, I wish I could do more than I am doing. Because look, the youths are the future of this country. There's absolutely no other truth than the fact that you will come to lead this country in whatever capacity you think you can. But this country is yours already. And if we see you talented, committed, motivated, engaged, honestly, for me, I think it's already a success. Abdul is launching a book. And by the way, he will tell you that he's a science student. And I'm sure he has done a lot of other radio programs. I am never lucky to get any radio program, despite the fact that I probably have carried one of the most important titles as a writer. But even if I want a radio program, they'll ask me to pay. Abdul can get it for free. Maybe next time I'll tell Abdul to be my PR. Abdul got so many radio programs that honestly, by the time you finish with that, you will just love to get that book. And I think that was also a talent. You know, look, talents are hidden. And sometimes something can just unveil your talent. And I think through this book, Abdul has shown that he has another talent. He has a talent of pushing things to work and getting things done. So he must be commended for that. And the bright stars. Look, these people have excellent. I'm so happy to hear you do poetry. I cannot do it. It doesn't matter how much I study. I cannot do this kind of poetry. No, look, the truth is the truth. Do you know the art of doing what they did? Do you know the length? The amount, the period they took here? It might look short to you. Do you know how much time they have to take to synchronize themselves? To make sure that it knows their lines? There are no mistakes. To memorize the content, write that content, understand it, deliver it in the way they did, so comfortable. Maybe when we listen, for those of you who are not artists, you will not understand the work that is behind it all. It's the same thing when I ask her to do a portrait, you have the impression that she can do it in 5 minutes and that's enough. But the time it takes for you to understand how the lines should be curved, how each curve should synchronize with another one, how the shades should be dark here, light there, and get the picture emerge to become unique, to become original. That is an art. That is a vision. That is talent. And this is why, as I said, I love coming to this book launch. I think it's to commend every writer. But let me tell you, I'm not going to do a book review because I'm sure there are able people to do it. But I'm going to tell you 2 stories because it's about blind. Exactly. It's about love. And I'm sure some of you are here because of love. I'm sure you were not bothered about what Abdul did, but you were just curious to know what is in that book about love. I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to read the book. But let me just tell you a story I'm sure you might have heard once or twice because I love storytelling. And I think it's very important because storytelling is part of an art that we have preserved in our cultures over the generations, which most of you have lost because you are young. But when we were kids, our grandmothers, our mothers, an elder in the village will gather us and give us a story, probably once every week, or sometimes every night, especially when the moon is bright. They do a campfire, and we are told stories about these monsters, about moral lessons, etc. That is why stories are part of our lives. Actually, the stories we are told is our first school of life. And here is this woman who so much loves her husband, but she has the impression the husband doesn't love her. And she wanted to be sure that the husband loves her. And as we all do, she went to a marabout. And the marabout said, "Don't worry, I have a very important concoction. It's very simple to do, but very difficult to have." So what do I have to do? "I just want you to bring me a lioness milk." The milk of a lioness. I'm sorry if many of you are told to do that. You say, so they kill him. Well, she was so much in love, and she wanted to do everything to get the love of her life. So she decided to look for where a lioness can be. And she knew that there was a zoo where there's a lioness, but it's very dangerous to go there. And she was able to coax the ones guarding the zoo. But how can she get the milk? To get that milk, you have to enter yourself and get the milk from the lioness that has just got some cups, new cups. And what she did was, she decided now the best thing is to get used to the cups, because she knew that, like every mother, if you love my child, you care for my child, we immediately connect, right? So he decided to care for the cups, bringing them a little bit of food here and there, and getting used to them and getting closer, playing with them. And gradually the lioness will raise her head and see her, but because of the way she is interacting with the cubs, she didn't see her as a danger. And she got closer, got her milk, and then was happy and going directly to the Marab. I'm sure you guessed the end of the story, right? You did, right? Good. Because you see, to earn love, whether it's a woman earning the love of her husband or a husband getting the love of a woman, there must be some element of work. So she went to the Marabu and told the Marabu, I have got the milk. The Marabu said, how did you do that? And she explained everything. So, oh my God, how patient you were. Look at the strategy you took. He said, I have given you your concoction, your results, you've got it already. What do you mean? He said, do exactly what you did to that lioness with your husband. Just go and be patient. Whatever he wants, you do it for him. Whatever food he likes, you cook it for him. And be patient, the love will come. So you see, sometimes the love we all yearn for is probably right next door. It's just a matter of knowing how to get it. So I'm sure this book will be of great interest to you. I was able to review the book for Abdu. And first of all, what struck me first is that here is a perpetual poet writing prose. So, but what's happening? Okay, he's a scientist who is supposed to be a poet, but a poet who wrote prose. I was a bit confused. But what does that tell us? That tells us that, look, creativity now is on the move. People are getting creative. The youths are writing. You can see a book launch happening now almost every month. There's a book launch here or a book launch there. The only thing I will advise us, the best way to support people who are creative today, if they are writers, is to read. But I am sure if I test most of you here today and ask you how many books you have read, voluntarily, I'm not saying the one I'm forcing you to read in school or at the university. If I ask you how many of you have gone voluntarily to Timbuktu and buy one book, some people don't even know where Timbuktu is. I hope all of you know where Timbuktu is. And go and buy a book written by a Gambian, and went home to read it from page to page. I can bet here $3,000 is I won't get one. Oh, maybe I'll get one. No, I'll have to be careful. Ken is around. But what I'm driving at is you cannot support writers today without reading. Because if you look at what Abdul Kamal has spent just to get this to be done, it's like a naming ceremony, gente. You love your child very much and you do everything you want. But in the case of a book, the beginning is when the book is launched. That's when the support is needed. All the books that are published here and lined outside should have been bought, and they should be exhausted. And people should be asking and asking and asking. But that cannot happen if we do not want to read. And I am sorry to say we are not reading. So we are not supporting writers. There are many writers here, many young writers around. I don't have to mention them. Some of them are around. But you are not reading. And we cannot appreciate the work of arts of the young writers, whether they are artists, whether they are dramatists, stage performers, without giving them what is required for that to be beneficial to them. The only thing most of us do, and this is the honest truth, don't feel bad about it, is when they call for a book launch, you come to the book launch, you listen to speeches, maybe you buy one book, then when you go home, you pack it and it will gather dust. That's all you do. But I'm appealing, let us read. And I'm some of you who are also willing to write, please read. Because as a writer too, if you don't read very, very extensively, your writing is still not going to be good. That is the magic, is the substance of writing, is the blood of writing. It's reading. You must read. You must be able to look at Raki. She came here and she was able to give you a whole history of Gambian writers, especially women writers. She could not have known if she had not read. So if we publish books and you don't read, They will keep gathering dust under our beds and in the bookshelves, and we will be more demotivated. We cannot write again. So please, we should all learn to patronize writers, and we should also learn to read, so that most of us who are eventual potential writers can also publish and write in the very near future. So I want to continue again to commend Abdul Kama, congratulate him for this book. I'm hoping this is not going to be the last. I'm hoping that there is going to be a set of poetry also coming up. And because he's at the university, and also part of the, I think, vice president of the Writers Association there, I'm hoping that he will continue to write and motivate others also to write. So this is the words I wanted to say, and I want to thank everybody for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One of you. I am Maria Tuba, a writer. And before proceeding, I first of all want to congratulate my friend and brother. Congratulations to you, Abdul Koma. So I'll take it from there. I stand here I stand all of you here today to represent the party leader of GDC, which is Honorable Mama Kande. And then going straight into his speech, this is what he says about this book launch. So, good afternoon, everyone. It is both an honor and privilege to be here today to discuss the topic that holds immense significance for our future, the role of youth in shaping an inclusive society through the power of literature. Literature is not merely a form of entertainment. It is a powerful tool for understanding empathy and change. It allows us to explore diverse perspectives, challenges, societal norms, and envision a world where everyone belongs. As young people, you are at the forefront of this movement. Your voice, your stories, and your creativity can ignite change and inspire others to join the cause of inclusivity. Every book you read, every poem you write, and every story you say has the potential to bridge gaps between culture, foster understanding, and encourage dialogue. Literature can amplify marginalized voice, set light on social injustice, and spark conversations that matter. By engaging with diverse narratives, you do not only enrich your own understanding, but also equip yourselves to advocate for a more inclusive society. I urge each and every one of you to harness your unique self, your unique perspectives and experience. Participate in book clubs, write your own stories, or even start community projects that celebrate literary diversity. Your engagement can create a ripple effect, inspiring others to reflect, learn, and act. In conclusion, let us remember, literature is a collective journey. As you share your stories and listen to those of others, you contribute to a tapestry of voice that can transform our communities. Together, we can shape an inclusive society where everyone feels valued and heard. Thank you so much. So, Honorable was supposed to be here, but due to some errands, he is not here today. And this speech is on behalf of Honorable. Thank you so much.
Our own brother and a friend, Abdul Koma, the perpetual poet, also known as Alas. Alas, I am proud of you. May this book touches the heart of many. My poem is entitled The Untold Truth About My Life. And here it goes. On this tiny, tantalizing wall, I stand on the title tile where the sunshine is reflection, some will call it alive. On this very tapestry of prejudice, I am surviving my trials. I was called to hope when I was meant to cry. Life shows me how to be independent when I was undoubtedly a dependent. Even on my pedestal where everyone looked low upon everyone else, I dwell in a dilemma. Here, where I am a pedestrian, walking alone on rough roads, crossing seas, also no doubt, breaking barriers beyond boundaries. Life is a teaching field where every human is both a learner and a teacher. But when I was a little younger, the world was wilder. I vividly remember when my mother left me off Sowa, Torowa, all my over for my locomotion. As a youngster, I thought I could try to stand on that hard surface, only to tumble and stumble. On that hard surface, I wrote on the surface, crawling, howling and howling, who I am to cry. Who am I to cry to the hard surface? Oh, to call the world to attention to cares not. I could not remember what happened next. Maybe I was picked up by my mother. Perhaps she wanted to confirm whether if we can give that back after a fatal pain, a second chance for another ride. With wet tears wetting my hair and face, I quickly settled on the back of a giant like the woman who carries me for many months. After that hard tumble, I was not sure that I can crumble, but the toddler's tale was not told. I could not deceive her, but as a sniper, I am about to exhaust my story, the fabric of my story. On this picture, I am touching tactical words together to tell a true account of my story. It was in a world or a womb where my life was better, perhaps, but it was my mother that excited me. I was told that my mother joined the conspiracy where I was dethroned. In that world or a womb where I was a full queen, and in my kingdom where I was softly shattered. I was spontaneously satisfied. One night, I was told that I was possibly ejected. My legs were pulled out drastically to the ground. I could not stand up for myself. And now I stood up. But because the hands that grabbed me were so unkind, and when I asked, I was told it was a mankind. I was not sure that it was a kindness, and I cried. I cried the entire day. I was so sad, and I was betrayed. I was forced to migrate. But to justify my claim. But here, they decided to give me a name. Many men came. They gathered and scattered the colonies. And I heard them silently whisper, may her road be roughed. But now that I understand my right to speak up, to say I was well betrayed by my mother, who after so much love in the world, brought me out of this wired wall where all sides of things are made. Let's call it a spade, a spade. I am the junior poet, Oriella, hidden behind the moon, living with you for eternity. I salute you all.
When a Badibunka, Mr. Kowa, you know, when a Badibunka comes to, there's this story when a Badibunka went to Kia and tell them that among all the Kiankas, who went to school here? Ikafo, fire, baby down. But now we have some smart Kiankas like Binta and the other Kianka, Fatu Kamara. So, Binta, definitely. Thank you. Okay. My name is Usman Gom, the CEO of 5-Star Restaurant and Pastry, and the founder of Congo Poultry. I'm an entrepreneur and a youth activist. That's why I could not sleep the night yesterday, because my fellow youths are behind bars. So, but congratulations now, and thanks for their effort that they have been released. Yeah, and today, definitely, I'm here to talk about the youth and youth entrepreneur, because that's my field, and I can see 90% of this gathering are youth. So I can say this is my platform, to inspire my fellow youths. Okay, like Mr. Koma told me that the last time I want you to come and attend the gathering, the launching of the book, and share your experience with the youth about your success story. I tell him that yes, Mr. Koma, I'm a very busy guy, but I will try and attend it by hook or crook. So thank you, Mr. Koma, for inviting me. Yeah. Okay. I'm talking about the youth entrepreneur and youth activist. I can't remember. Uh, by then, I was in grade 10. I started doing my poultry. As a small scale poultry farm. So I started poultry at very early age. By then I was in grade 9 going to 10. So people were saying that, oh, how can you combine this, go to school and be doing poultry? I say, yes, it's my hobby. I want to do poultry. Then after 3 years, when I graduated from, and by then, Haman Men SOS was one of the best schools in the Gambia. So I graduated there. Then all my colleagues are telling me that, hey, I'm going to, I'll be traveling America, those in UK, you understand? And there's this company that gives me their flyers that offers this thing, how to call it, IT training. I don't want to mention the company name, but they give me their flyers for me to distribute. Anytime when I give it to the students, hey, no, I'm traveling. So after they tell me, what you want to do in future? I say, a poultry farm. They all get angry. They laugh at me. They say, come on, you graduated from a school, a very good school, and you'll be going to do poultry. Yeah, come on. I said to them, yeah, that's my hobby. Understand? Okay, luckily, I start grinding, then I get sponsor from the former regime because no, before that I was working with LHDP, Livestock and Horticulture Development Project. From there, I traveled to Taiwan, do for my poultry management. After 4 years, I was back at the country and established Combo Poultry. Now I can see that who don't know Combo Farm here is very small because I branded myself as a Combo Poultry Farm. That's what I do, and extended to a 5-star restaurant and a pastry. Understand? And I remember those are my colleagues that travel. When they land in the Gambia, they admire. They say, wow, but you don't need to go to Europe. You don't need to travel. But you are better the established. I say, yes, because we initiate the tech. Yeah, and I was working with the year project. I don't see my mentor because if you see me standing here, it's because of Allah and Fatou Gay. Yeah, Fatou Gay is my mentor. She calls me by then I was riding a bicycle. And she said to me, Usman, I recognize your effort in this journey. So I want you to come and attend the MProtect training. How to become a millionaire. Those are the projects that we need them back to continue the MProtect. How to become a millionaire. I'm not saying I'm a millionaire, but the project teaches you how to become a millionaire. And since then, yeah, I'm getting close. I'm getting close. Yeah, yeah. Sure. And I'm very particular concerned with the youth. That's why I train almost 24 youths for free at my own cost and give them allocation and the money. They are managing farms in various parts of the country. Understand? So That's how we do as a youth activist. You create employment and stand by the youth. Understand? That's why I'm very particular about the youth and youth matters. That's why when Abdul Omar invited me here, I have so many programs today, but I said I will schedule myself because I must attend this August gathering before going any other program. So I'm thanking you, Mr. Abdul Omar, and the invited guests and Honorable Amin Bojan Sisoho. Definitely, I'm very honored. Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Bojan, the director of press at the State House. I think today we are lucky. If she attends, then Adama Barrow has attended. And that's a plus for us. And I also want to recognize Raki, who calls me her boy, such an old man like me. And my dear brother, whom I can never forget about, Cherno Omar Bari, Professor Cherno Omar Bari. He's the first person that enabled me to board a plane. And I always say that. Okay, and then I wish to congratulate Mr. Koma, the author of such a fine book. In those days, these were stories told around the fire. But now, with the digital advancement, it has now come a physical commodity that can move from one hand to another. But in those days, nobody owns these stories. They were the ones told around the fire. But I have to also commend our able mistress of ceremony. They don't want the mistress. They have got the master of ceremony for coordinating this program so well. Okay, in the ratchet of the act, the author said, out of relative obscurity, each generation has a role to play. You either betray it or you fulfill it. Today, Abdul Koma has fulfilled that role. He has written a book to be read by all and sundry. But in the subsequent chapter again, called Pitfall of African Nationalism, Franz Fanon still said, now is the beginning of the end and the end of the beginning, when African affairs will be shot and cut and tailored around the table conferences of United Kingdom, Brussels, and France. And today, in our own Gambia, Abdul has written a book that is about Africa, that has African names. In Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela said, "We resonate with death. If the results of death are better than living, why should we live? If it is better to die. But you must die genuinely. You must not die like a dog, to be thrown in the streets like a dog." Shortly before his execution, Patrice Lumumba wrote a letter to his wife and said, "My dear wife, I don't know at the time this letter gets to you whether I'll be dead or alive. But dead or alive, my hopes remain unshakable. It's not me who matters, it's the people of the Congo and Africa." But towards the end of the letter, he wrote two touching paragraphs, and he tells the wife, "When my children grow up, tell them all that I'm doing it for them and the people of Africa." And he also said, "I will never forgive my children when they fail to rewrite the history of Africa." And that is on that tempestuous journey I believe the youths are. to rewrite the history of Africa. And that's what Abdul and his colleagues are onto, rewriting the history of Africa. Starting with the cover, look at the eyes. Those eyes would never close. These are the eyes that represented the book Macbeth. When Macbeth murdered Duncan, he said, "Sleep, son, no more." The tale of Cawdor has murdered sleep, and sleep, son, no more. Look at the eyes of the lady. They will never close. They will remain open. Because already the joy has been stripped of this lady. She can feel no joy. What she possesses much has been robbed of her. What is interesting about the book? You have blindness covering everywhere. You have the blind bitches. I told that love is blind. And here are two women who have fallen in love, a man and a woman who are all blind. So Abdul, through his literary expression, he is able to create blindness, darkness all over. The love is blind. We are told love is blind. Everybody can love somebody out of blindness. And the two people who fell in love are blind. And you have blind bitches breaking them apart. So Abdul is able to use the word blindness repeatedly. But look at the cow cells hung around the neck of the man. They are symbolic. These are not the shackles or the chains hung around the sleeves, but these are means of identity, recognizing one's identity. The cow cells that serve as a currency and play a very important role in Africa are what this lady beautified herself. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a treasure hidden in this book, and I will not reveal it. Find it out by yourselves by buying the book. There is a gold mining in this book. That if you go through the book, and I don't want to preempt you, you'll see how successfully Abdul has used the language in sending his literary expression. In the first chapter, that is the acknowledgement, we can see the irony Abdul uses. He said the journey to publishing my fourth book, The Blank Pages of Love, has been both challenging and rewarding. You can see the irony. It has been challenging, but at the end of the day, he has gained a lot of experience. But as I told you, I will not dwell much. Then I will preempt you. Then go to page 1, where you have in Bulawali, love was always accompanied by a symbol of tool. It was the digging of a well. But in that hole of anguish, where love was never cherished, there was no pride alongside it. Here are people who have fallen in love, but they cannot get married. Why? Because of the cultural implications. And elders have played role, very important role. In the last of the empires, Samuel Usman said, under the pravatory of Africa, truth is the monopoly of the elders. In things fall apart, Ijuni, the old man, was not to have a hand in the killing of Ekemefuna, which he refused. In Macbeth, the night that Macbeth assassinated Duncan, there was an old man who was consulted, and he said, I have lived for 80. I have never seen such a horrible night. So you can see the importance of elders in all societies. They are the custodians of the norms and the values. They play a very important role in cherishing our norms and values and ethics. But a foreign guy somewhere else said, Immanuel Kant, that ethics are only to make us live happy and peacefully. But Immanuel Kant said, living happily and peacefully, and yet our own freedom is jeopardized, those ethics are not worthy of following. So the ethics we go by must be very cherishing. Then in the next chapter, you have the broken heart of the blind woman, spiral forward into darkness. Her memories of the past, twisting the vines, entwined with the presence of the blind man who was no longer there. When Abdu gave me this book to proofread it, I was amazed. I have to call him again and said, Abdu, is this an original work? He said, yes, uncle. I said, I hope you did not plagiarize, because I was just marveled with the type of language Abdu used to express his literary wits. So you can see here, the woman has always been a victim of love. We traumatize the women. We bully them. We get married to a woman. Of course, that's why I'm told that I'm handpicked. Who is handpicked? Who is under the dominance of his wife? Yes, because you are afraid to marry a second wife, that's why you are supporting the women. But I don't want anybody who breaks the heart of women. The life of Professor Cheromar Bali uses he is so handsome, so attractive, wouldn't mind marrying more than 2 wives, winning the fourth wife. And then in chapter, at page 7, far away, the blind woman's heart was still caught in the throes of love and loss. She refused to let herself feel in love again. You see, this woman has been taught a lesson. Abdul Qamar is able to give us here the proverbial importance that once bitten, twice shy. Once the woman has experienced a bitter one, she wouldn't love again. And this song, this lesson has already been manifested by a reminder, Duman Nobati. You see? So if you undergo a bitter experience, you will never want to yield again. Ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, every bit of this book is important. I don't want to preempt you. In page 41, the author teaches us to err is human, but to forgive is divine. Now the woman forgave the man, where he knew that it was not the intention of the man to betray her, but the man was forced to do so. So you can see the woman accepted. So this demonstrates the tender heartedness of women. Women always forgive very easily. We men, we trouble them. We men, we trouble them. But women always forgive. So you see, Abdul is definitely trying to capture those people in what we call linguistic exile. In things for part, when they came and saw the dangling body of Okoroko, the district commissioner said, why can't you cut this road and bury the man? But Obieke, a friend of Okoroko, said, keep quiet. You have sent one of the greatest men to commit suicide. So Abdul has spoken to the very woman in the African setup, those who know are in what we call linguistic exile. So those of us who have read, buy the book and read the book to your grandmother or your grandfather or your aunt who has not been schooled. Ladies and gentlemen, go to page 54, the end of the book, the conclusion. There too, Abdul has demonstrated the reality of the proverb, patient dog is the biggest bone. At the end of the day, what happened? They united, they got married, and forgot about all. But thank God, if you have very good people around you, you are always happy. Part of my job has been done by my sister and Mrs. Soho, as well as Professor Cheno Amarbali. So I have always chosen one point that I want us to look at. That is a point where Abdul made very important thing. He said, the society is freezing with disdain. That is in page 69. Immorality is the order of the chains. Incorrect history will be written. Bad concepts will be taken, and then even the wrong will be detained in a prison society. This is the holocaust of the society, where the elders are not accorded their due. So you see, Abdul is trying to romanticize the importance of the African ethos, norms and values. He is still saying the importance of the elder without the guardians of that good teacher who spoke here, and Abdul's father and mother, Abdul would not have been responsible. Abdul has gone through the socialization process. He has been trained by his parents, and each member of the society as an elder has played a very important role in bringing Abdul, and Abdul presented us such a wonderful book. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a surprise. The likes of Professor Cheno Amarbali, in any book launch, he always praises a book. He should be highly commended for that. He always praises a book. So I appeal to you, please let each and every one of you buy a book. Donate it to the schools, to the National Library, to the youths, as Sister Annie did. Make sure that each and every one of us goes home with a book. That is the best way we can support Abdul. And Abdul, looking at him, justifies what Pythagoras said. Abdul, when I saw him, I said, Abdul, but you look very handsome. So therefore, you are just very kind. That's what Pythagoras breathed in. He breathes that everybody who is handsome is kind. But everybody who is ugly like Uncle Mr. Seka is bad. But we cannot go by that, premise. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate you to buy this episode. Thank you very much.